So let's have a look at what we've got here. I get it, guys. I get it. The 10 of Wands, you're tired. No wonder you're looking at that full energy and thinking, I want to jump into something new. Some of you, you've been working so hard, like whatever it is. I don't just mean a job. The Ace of Wands, which is how the cycle starts. The 10 leads back to the Ace. And again, so we've got that kind of, you're in this kind of weird spot at the moment because the 10s are like that fool. Before we're getting ready to go again, we're experiencing the outcome of the last cycle, but we're also ready to step into the new cycle. Because the 10s, if you add 1 at a 0, that's a 1, that's an ace. It's taking us back to that ace energy. So how this cycle started, whatever this is for you, was you were excited, you were passionate, you were ready to start something new, whether it was a job, a relationship, whatever. When we get to the 10, we've been through that cycle, and it's no longer, that excitement's gone. Now it's just a challenge. Now it's just a struggle. Now it's just all the shit that you're having to carry to make this work. But it's taught you a lot about what you can, what you will and won't do, what you can and can't do. That's the beauty of that cycle that you've just been through. So if nothing else, please take that on board, because we have the King of Wands coming up for you guys. And with the King of Wands, it's, some of you may, I mean, I've been picking up a lot of strong kind of Leo energy around you, because that's what the King of Wands is. But that doesn't mean you're a Leo. You might have placements in Leo, whatever. I know some people don't like me talking about other signs, but if it comes up, that's part of the message. I never say anything in a reading that isn't part of the message. Even if it's a memory, a story, a movie clip, a song, a comment someone's left, whatever, it's coming up as part of your message. So please trust that. And so there's not, I mean, where are the cups? Where are the cups? We have fire with the Wands energy. We have swords energy coming up, and we have pentacles or coins energy here. We don't have any cups. So a lot of you are feeling kind of not like yourselves. You know, you're not feeling your normal emotional kind of self. And that might be because you're so physically drained from what you physically had to put into something. But please trust with that King of Wands that you know a lot now. You know, you might have a fresh idea, ready for a new project, ready for a new passion, you know, or reviving passion in that existing situation. What's stopping you? What is stopping you from starting something new or reviving the passion in this or whatever? And I think it's the struggle that you've been through. I mean, look at that top row. It speaks of the struggle. All the crap that you're having to carry. That might not even be your crap to carry. You know, you kind of get left holding the baby with the 10 of Wands. And yeah, you might be the King of Wands now. And yeah, you might have mastery over, you know, acting on your inspirations, your passions. But some of you are looking for that. You're looking for, you know, what inspires me now? What do I go forward and do? But you fought so hard for this. So you got the 5 of Swords. And the reason I'm talking about the past is because with the 10 of Swords, that's the shadow of the past coming in. So this tells us very much why you've got your current heart of the matter, or heart of the reading is the 10 of Swords. That's what everything revolves around. 10 of Swords isn't actually a bad card. It's bad in that what happened was awful. It's the worst thing that could possibly happen to us with the 10 of Swords. But when you get 2 10s, especially those 2 very difficult 10s, that shit's over. And it feels like it's the last of that, the dredges of that, the shadow of that is coming in. This tells us what it was, the shadow of what, right? Was this. And it may be that, you know, one of the reasons that you fought so hard or struggled so hard or did so much was because you didn't, you know, you didn't want to be seen as selfish. Sometimes with the 5 of Swords, we can be seen as selfish. Or you've been fighting very hard against someone else's selfish behavior. I mean, if this is work reading, that is one toxic, nasty environment that you've been working in. This is in a relationship, then it's almost like you don't know what to do. Like, you know, the other person they just keep bringing up all this shit to prove that they're right. Because the 5 of Swords is it worth it? It's a victory of some sorts. And this kind of feels like that. You've achieved something. The King of Wands tells me you've achieved something. But what did it cost you to achieve that? And you're very aware of what it cost you to achieve whatever it is that you've achieved. Not going to lie to you, a lot of people have gotten this kind of Hermit, 4 of Swords, this kind of pause energy in the present. And it kind of feels like November is like that, like ups and downs, ups and downs. You might have already experienced some. I mean, this is going up. We're almost a third of the way through November. And I don't go by timings. I just think whenever the messages come up for, they come up for. I trust in divine timing that you'll get it when you need it. But the Ten of Swords in, have a look at him. So whatever happened has happened. I know it may feel like it's still going on, but the worst of it is over. The Ten of Swords tells me that. The worst of it is over. So what's keeping him bound then? Well, the memory, the Swords, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and how we communicate them. There's been some nasty communication here. That can be conflict as well. But it's the memory of that. It still surrounds us and it keeps us bound. And he feels vulnerable and he's naked. You know, whenever we see naked people, that's vulnerability. And if you see his hands, they clasp behind his back as if he's still bound by it. But if you look closely, the bindings are actually, they're cut. They're hanging loose. He's holding his hands together. Which that can be difficult. This can feel, this is one of those situations that if you came to me and told me, and I said to you, oh, it's your choice, you don't have to stay stuck in it. You would say, no, Jay, you don't understand. I don't have a choice. I have to deal with this. I have to deal with this. But ultimately, it feels like it's wrapping up. The worst of whatever this shit is, it's over. And I kind of get that the focus is now shifting from what happened to, well, how has that left me? What am I now capable of doing? And I understand this. I mean, there's some very difficult energies here, I'm not going to lie. But when we get that King of Wands coming up, trust me when I say this, through this month, via this month, whatever it is, you will know. You will know what it is that you're ready to do. The King of Wands, he's like the Emperor. So he can be in charge. And it is about being in charge of what you do now, where you exert your efforts, what you do around this. I want to get one for that Ten of Swords. What is it? Bloody hell, that flew out a bit. Yeah, see? All right. So trust me on this. And it may not feel like this for someone. And this may be a very specific message for one person out there. I don't know. But with this is nasty conflict. This is not nice. This is someone who's willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want. There can be horrible words exchanged. There can be nasty inner conflict, inner dialogue going on when this kind of energy comes up. And ultimately, it leaves us feeling like shit with that Ten of Swords. But you have the Five of Wands coming up here. So I like that. I like that. Something about whatever struggle you've been going through or the burdens that you've been carrying, whether it's in the family, at work, wherever it is. Trust me on this. It's left you more capable than you realize. And this is about seeing our role in it. Now, that's not about blame. That's not about that, even if someone's done, that's ruthless. That's horrible. Someone's done that to us. It's not taking on the blame, not taking on the blame for that person. That's not what it says. It's the shift. Look, we go from one 5 to another 5. That's what we're focused on right now or dealing with. And this Five of Wands, it's still conflict, but this is where we stand up and show what we're made of. Now, if you're coming up as the King of Wands, that is, you're a force to be reckoned with. I don't think, if you've been fighting with a person or a situation or whatever it is, it's left you so much stronger. And if you're thinking back, because remember, I don't know who I talked about this with. I talked about it in another sign, or maybe it was a client's reading. I don't remember, but it is time. Time is what makes us feel kind of stress, anxiety, worry, regret. It's where we place ourselves in time. It means that we're not in the moment. That's why I love the Hermit coming up here. Very empowering energy for you. Because when we think back, that's that fear of, I don't want it to happen again. The Nine of Swords is when we look forward. Well, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Will that happen? But the Five of Wands is, what can I do right now? How can I step up and show what I'm made of? And that we enjoy that challenge, which I know that sounds a bit far-fetched for some of you right now, but we do, because we know we're up to the job. We know we can either tell people to back up. That's not you. I mean, that's more Seven of Wands, but even in the Five of Wands, it's competition, but it's healthy competition. If that can be like cutthroat energy, and I've had that come up in people's business readings where their business has been run out of business out of malice. Someone's consciously gone after them, or in the workplace, it's someone trying to sabotage your work. That's the Five of Swords. But this is where we step up and we show what we're made of. And what you're made of is the King of Wands. And he's successful and he acts on his passions and he's very present moment based. So if you feel kind of displaced in time, like, well, this happened in the past and I don't know what's going to happen in the future, focus on where you are right now. Where is your power right now? Where is your power right now? It might be the power to say something. It may be the power to say, no, not doing this. Or I'm sorry, I don't have time for that bullshit. I have to focus on my work. Or my family needs me. I can't do those extra hours. It's that kind of stepping up and stepping into your own power. Because the 10s tell me that cycle is done. That cycle is done. It's the dredges of that. And when you've got this nasty energy coming up, that could be someone who's trying to make it linger or continue. And it's general, so it can go both ways. Remember that. But you know, that someone who's trying to make something and it's done. The 10s tell us it is done. Now, with the King of Wands coming up as a powerful character, we have the Hermit coming up in the present. He is powerful too. Very powerful. That is the whole point of the Hermit. And it does feel, I mean, I recorded it yesterday, day 15 of the Scorpio season challenge. Those of you that watch it, you know what I'm talking about, because we got the Fool, we got the Hermit, and then we got the 10 of Pentacles. You got the 9 of Pentacles here. And it comes to mind as an extension almost of this reading, because I talk extensively in that of the journey from the Fool, 0, to the Hermit, number 9. That is a whole stage in the major arcana. That's the whole stage in our life. And who the Fool is and how we do ourselves a disservice when we see the Hermit as just someone who's alone. That's not what the Hermit is. That's not his highest vibration. That is not the energy or the core energy of this card. This is someone who has lived a life. We always see an elderly gentleman here, right? He's gone through that stage of, he was that Fool, that newborn person, the soul ready to be reborn again. And he took a leap of faith. He trusted in himself. And then when he got to the Magician stage, which is number 1, he had to have the confidence to use what he knew and the tools that he had to get what he wanted. With the High Priestess, he had to use his intuition. With the Empress, he gave birth to new projects. With the Emperor, King of Wands, right? That kind of energy. It was more exerting his control, his power, deciding what he wanted to do, taking responsibility. The Hierophant is where he had faith. Faith in external, you know, this is where we make rules. Well, I like to do this, or I'm going to be part of this religious belief, or I'm going to be a part of this company. But then out of doing that, he figured out what he loved with the Lovers, number 6. And then with the Chariot, that's your card, the Cancer card. Then he balanced his head and his heart, and he went for what he loved. But on that journey, on that path, when that Chariot was going forward, he came across boulders or challenges or, you know, obstacles in his way. And you bloody did, you know, and that's where he needed strength, inner courage. And throughout all of that now, the Hermit, when he gets to number 9, he's realized that at every point, no matter what anyone did to him, he got to decide, he got to tap into his own inner, you know, whatever he wanted, whatever he needed, whatever he loved, his own intuition to get through it all. And that is why the Hermit is fully understanding the role that we play and the power that we have in a situation. There's not the devil coming up here, but I'm getting that kind of devil feeling of realizing, well, this is what was holding me back, or this is why this happened. There is a deep realization coming in November, and please be kind to yourself if it happens, where you understand, you see certain patterns of why this comes up, why this happens. And it's not about destroying you or bringing you down. It's about showing you, well, great, I can say no to that. I don't have to put up with that kind of conflict. I can take on challenges that I want. I know what I have to bring to the table, no matter what anyone else is telling me. If there's been betrayal, deception, lies, being let down with that 10 of Swords, well, that doesn't change my value. I still know what I bring to the table. That is a massive realization. A massive realization. Some of you are going through that already. But, you know, it would be a whole different story if he was not here. But the fact that the King of Wands is there, even if you've gone up again, I mean, usually the card that comes up is the underlying energy, the court cards. They are the person or the people that I'm reading for. And it wouldn't come up with the 10 of Wands if that's not how you were left after that cycle, after that struggle that you've been through. But it takes a minute to realize that, right? It takes a minute to understand, you know, this is what happened. And this is where we're not affected by our surroundings. We're going deep within to understand what meaning it has for us, how we've learned from that. And you can hear it in people's stories that they tell about the past, and the swords can indicate that. There was a time, like say I was talking about my illness. Those of you that know, I had a chronic illness. I was in bed for 7 years. And there was a time when I would talk about it as, I'm a victim. Look at what happened to me. And now I talk about it in a very empowered way, which is, hey, I learned this through that. I've become this through that. It's taught me that I can do this, you know, and that's the difference. That's the same situation. And that's why, you know, all we have is the now. All we have is now. What we call the past, you know, and I don't really believe in linear time, like past, present, future, but we do as human beings experience things that way. It's one of our senses. The past changes based on how we remember it. And like I said, right during, you know, if I'm remembering the things that happened to me right after when I got better from being ill, my reaction or the story that I would have told or the meaning that it gave me would have been very different from now. Now I see it as a gift. At the time, I felt like I had 10 swords in my back and I was dying. You know, it's our memory changes. And there's a much deeper meaning that comes in around this. If you have been made to feel like you're not enough, or what you bring to the table isn't enough, or that you're not worthy of something, and not that people go and do that on purpose, but, you know, it's the roles that we play, it's the situations that we encounter, was bringing that in. The hermit alone was bringing it. I'm going to put it this way. This is how it's coming in. We're looking at that. This is from feeling like you're everyone's butt monkey, like, you know, that it's your job, that you take on everything. It's all right. Good old Cancer will do it. Cancer will take care of that. To knowing, no, I'm in my power, in my authority. For once, let's do what I want to do. And not, you know, the whole selfish is a much maligned word. You've heard me say that before. Taking care of your own needs, that does not make you selfish. Expecting other people to take care of your needs, that absolutely makes you selfish. Have you ever had anyone tell you that you come from ego? And ego basically means that when you say that, oh, I'd like to do this, or I want to do this, or this is what I believe, and they say, yeah, you're just being egotistical. Does it make you egotistical, or does it make the other person egotistical because they're feeling butthurt because you're not taking on their ego desires and needs? And it feels like that kind of a story going on here, especially with these fives coming up, very intense. If you watch the intro to the Scorpio Season Challenge, I talk specifically about the fives because I see them as minor energies of the judgment energy, transformation, the agents of chaos, I always call them. Even there's a shift. And so, wow, there is a deep, deep, profound understanding. This could be a very spiritual reading for some of you, where with that hermit, you now understand why those changes, why it had to go down that way, why certain things have died away, why. It's a lot of that. But the answers to the why always come from within. The hermit teaches us that, but that's the, you know, when people say, why did they do that? Or why did this happen? We will never know. Everyone is coming from their own story, their own script that they've written. They've cast us as specific characters based on their own script. But we know what's in our script. We know what matters to us. And there's a massive transformation here. Massive. And it has the potential to be very empowering. But we take a moment. We take a moment with that hermit energy to really figure out, well, why? Let me get one more. And that's double. I mean, you don't have. Look at the rest of it. There's no major arcanas coming up except for here. That's the turning point. Death is Scorpio energy. The transformation, the change. And we can be left feeling like there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Nothing's happening in my life right now when that energy comes up. But that's when we're ripe for something new to come in. Yeah, see, you're at a crossroads. And again, it's wands. And it's not about what you think. It's not about what you feel. It's about what you're willing to do now. The action that you take. And you're done with the old way of doing things because you got left doing everything with that 10 of wands, or somebody did. There was this uneven, you know, or maybe you were just taking on too much. Sometimes we do it ourselves because you felt responsible for everyone or everything. Shift, change coming up there. 2 of wands says that. 2 of wands says you're going to keep doing what you did because you're going to keep getting what you got, or do you want to go in a different direction now? And so this month, it kind of feels like there's a consideration of something massive that you may not have, you never in a million years would you have thought that you were ready for it or that you could do this. But that's the thing about struggle. When we get that kind of struggle, it's almost like a Queen of Swords energy coming up with all these swords matched with that King of Wands. There's a fearlessness. None of that shit took you down. And 10 of Swords, 5 of Swords, it was nasty. I love that it's coming up as a past energy or an energy that we're leaving behind because nobody likes that shit. It's difficult. It's difficult, but it toughens you, and it's toughened you in ways that I don't think you ever would have thought. If someone had told you this a year ago, 2 years ago, that, hey, Cancer, this is what you're going to be like, or this, and you'll be like, no, that's not me. I'm not like that. You are like that. And so based on this more action-oriented, more passionate person that's coming up, that's the opportunity now to go in a different direction. At a very mundane level, this might be where, you know, you worked in the kind of trenches at work, you know, in an office or something, and you were part of that office drama and stuff, and it was just got nasty. But now, because of going through that, you know how everyone works, you've learned the business better, you might have an opportunity to step up and be the boss, or to go somewhere else and do that. But you know that your path has changed now. You're not about living that same cycle again. You're done with that. You're done with that. And so there is a decision to make here. I mean, you may already be pondering this and considering this. And that's what this reading feels like. It's reassuring you and reminding you that your skill set has changed. Your skill set has changed. That maybe you just kind of knew it from, you know, what you've been through, but that something around this struggle has changed your skill set. And even in what am I trying to say? Come on, Jay, spit it out. Even in relationships, maybe this was, you know, arguments and conflict. You're done with that shit. I don't want that. You bring a different light, you bring a different energy, you bring a different vibration to relationships now. And so when you've changed, when you're stepping more into your power, then the relationships that you enter, or how you are in relationships, even if it's the same job, same relationship, same family, same lover, whatever, you are bringing a different vibration to it. You're going to be doing something differently. Now, you got 2 9s coming in here. 9s are the completions. That's the kind of outcome. I guess they overlap. But let's look at the advice first. The advice is the 9 of Swords, because these are both present based. These are both past based energies, because we're coming in with that. That's what they kind of end up in. These are both present based, and they lead to that future energy that's coming in, which I love, that future energy. But the advice with the 9 of Swords is, this is worrying about what will happen. And unfortunately, or fortunately, for some of us, that, you know, there is no guarantee. We don't know what will happen. And that's like asking me, well, you know, Jay, will I get the promotion, or will I be able to do the job? I don't know. Can you? Because it's based on this 2 of Wands. Whatever action you take now, 5 of Wands, 2 of Wands, King of Wands, that will determine what happens. We talked about the power of now, where the past changes based on how we change. Like that's all there is. That's all there is in life. All we ever experience is a series of nows. And from that now, we remember the past. And from that now, we project into the future, which is then just going to be another now. And so the 9 of Swords is where we worry about, will that happen? Will they do this again? Will there be that fight again? Will I be able to step up and do this? Whatever it is. And the 9 of Swords says that the more you kind of run that scenario, or the scenarios that are going through your head, that is insomnia, that is lack of sleep. Some of you, that might literally be the case for you, that you've not been getting any rest. That's why the Hermit's coming up there, because you've been doing so much. But the more we kind of run that scenario or scenarios, the bigger it becomes. It becomes bigger, and it feels insurmountable. So the 9 of Swords always reminds us things are not as bad as they seem.